Now I want to take you back to this Red Sea crossing. I want to take you between the gorges at Pi Hakerot, between the gorges. And it is at this very location that a pillar of fire came down out of heaven as the Pharaoh's chariots and army came down that gorge after the children of Israel, and when there looked like there was no hope, wham, that pillar of fire came down. Now, I wasn't there for this purported archaeological dig, but as I understand it, right here at that location between the gorges, there was found recently an ancient, a very ancient video cassette tape and a very ancient video cassette player that then we were able to power up, and it apparently showed us exactly what took place.
The pillar of fire! It is the breath of God!
Great one, you cannot breach the fire of God.
The Lord of hosts will do battle for us. Behold his mighty hand.
This is very interesting video footage, but I thought that just 100 yards out from the beach, it dropped off 5,000 feet straight down. This shows, in Cecil B. DeMille's rendition, that the land drops off at about 5 degrees, levels off, and then comes back up 5 degrees on the other side. Easily negotiable on land or in an 18-wheeler. But at this very location, at the beach at Nueva, there just happens to be an underwater land bridge at this point that Cecil B. DeMille knew nothing about. It goes off at about 6 degrees, levels off, and comes back at 6 degrees on the other side. On each side of this land bridge, it drops off 5,000 feet right straight down to the bottom of the Great Rift. This one place, there is an underwater land bridge, and it is right between two pillars that were put there by Solomon 3,000 years ago, commemorating the crossing of the Red Sea on dry ground. Across this body of water, right here, across that underwater land bridge, Pharaoh's chariots and army have been found, encrusted in coral, strewn for over 1.5 miles. Tonight, you are going to see this. The crossing site.
The fire dies.
Sound the pursuit.
Here, take him.
serve the Egyptians than to die here.
Who shall withstand the power of God?
This particular rendition by Cecil B. DeMille shows that Pharaoh was not drowned in the Red Sea. He actually went back to Cairo and spoke to Ann Baxter about the incident. However, the scriptures say that Pharaoh that died in the Red Sea. And we saw that just as the charioteers were closing in, that is when the Red Sea closed up over them. Very interesting. This is what we know from the Bible. It says that the Hebrew slaves, built for Pharaoh treasure cities, Pithom and Ramses. Pithom, or King Tom, and Ramesses. Now, why do we assume that Ramses was the Pharaoh of the Exodus? Simply because of this verse. But according to Egyptologists and the Tel Amarna tablets, it says the Egyptians record that King Tom, Pharaoh Tom, died in a battle with a god in a whirlpool, and his body was never returned to the capital. Listen to me again. The Egyptians in the Tel Amarna tablets record that Pharaoh Tom died in a battle with a god in a whirlpool, and his body was never returned. Egyptologists will tell you one thing that they know about King Tutankhamun's tomb. That first of all, Tutankhamun was not the pharaoh. He was the heir to the throne, and he was buried in a tomb that was very elaborate, but it was not finished. And the tomb was not his. Why was the tomb very elaborate and unfinished? Because his father, Pharaoh Tom, was not going to die for a long time. It was being worked on. But Pharaoh Tom died in the Red Sea. But his son, his oldest son, the heir to the throne, died the night of Passover. And so he was buried in a tomb that was not finished, it was not his own, and he was buried with all the remaining treasures of Egypt in the 18th dynasty, the very time frame in which the Exodus took place. Now, the Egyptians, up to this year, have flatly denied that Israel was ever in Egypt. But just this last year, an official lawsuit was filed from Egypt against Israel for Israel taking all the gold and silver out of Egypt. It's true. Now, I think that that is a big mistake because they have no Jewish lawyers. And I believe that there is a countersuit that is going to be filed for back wages. So Egypt, again, has bitten off a little bit more than they can chew in this particular situation. Now we go to Pi Hahiroth, between the gorges and Baal Zephon. This is the body of water. This is the area where the children of Israel crossed. And found in this body of water, after Israel gave back the Sinai Peninsula, was this coral-encrusted six-boat chariot wheel. Now, let me explain something about this particular chariot wheel. First of all, any artifact, any remnant of Pharaoh's chariots and army, after 3,500 years, would have long dissolved in this saltwater environment. There would be nothing left.